What is up, gamers? Today we got another tier list for you guys. This time I'm going through my favorite fast food restaurants, if you can call them restaurants or whatever. But the way I'm doing this is not just by which has the best food, but like the overall experience, like the best in-store locations or the best blah 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 or this. So I'm not just doing it based off of one criteria, just how I feel about it in general. And then I've already done the never had list, and I know people are going to be like, what? You've never had Arby's? Or what? You've never had Little Caesars? Or blah, blah, blah. And maybe I have, like in passing throughout the years, like who knows, but they weren't good enough for me to remember if I did. And I don't think just haven't gone to them. But starting off the list, we have first Chick-fil-A, which I will be putting into the A tier. I think Chick-fil-A is a classic. I think the sandwich tastes great. The waffle fries are amazing, and I love the ice and the drinks, the little ball thingies. You get to chew on them. It's amazing. The one gripe I do have with them, well, actually two, is that one, they are closed on Sundays, and that is understandable. But the second thing is that I think the portion sizes are a bit too small with the sandwiches. I feel like whenever I get like just the number one combo, I eat it and then I'm really full in the second because I'll also have a shake and fries and everything else to go along with it that I eat really quickly, and I'll get super full. But then I'm hungry like 30 minutes later because in reality I didn't really eat that much food. But yeah, their sandwiches taste amazing, the sauce tastes amazing, the salads are pretty good, and it's just a great place to eat. And then next we have Culver's, which I will put into B tier. I think Culver's is a little overrated overall. I know a lot of people like it. I know my brother really likes it, and I think the burgers are good and the chicken fingers are good, but the fries are just and the drinks are just and the ice cream is just but it's still like better than, I'd say, like the baseline of all of those things. So I think it's pretty good. I just don't think as good as it could be, although the merch is pretty hype and the Scoopy tokens when I was little were also pretty hype. And then next we got Panda Express, which I will be putting into the A tier as well. But except this is kind of a weird one because honestly for Panda Express, it's very dependent on the day and the location that you go to for Panda, because sometimes the food tastes like S tier, like the greatest thing you've ever had in your entire life. Like the orange chicken, which is what I usually get, and the chow mein and broccoli beef or shrimp tastes great. Or it sometimes tastes like just the worst thing you ever had. The orange chickens is like crunchy, the rice is just dry, or the chow mein is just dry, and everything tastes terrible. But overall, although it is like a gamble for what you're gonna get, I do think Panda is overall an A tier, despite how like gross the place can be to some people. I still think it's a great place if you ignore that it's supposed to be like an authentic Chinese experience when it is just an American chain of grossness that tastes amazing. And then next we got Burger King, which I will put into the I'll put it in the C tier for now at least. I think Burger King's okay. I can't really remember the last time I had it, but I don't really have too many complaints about it. I think it's just one of those places you're driving along in like a long car trip, and you're just like, I'm hungry and I just need to eat something. Oh, Burger King, let's go there. And it's pretty good food for what that is, but I don't really have any strong of an opinion on it. And next up we got Taco Bell, and Taco Bell is an interesting one for me because well, hold on. Honestly, personally, it's A tier for me, which is kind of weird because whenever I think of Taco Bell, I think of a grimy, rundown, terrible establishment that is run terribly, even though it's probably not the workers' fault. And the food is really gross, except it's just classic for me because I used to get it every day, like after work when I worked at the pool. And despite how gross the food might seem, it is still pretty good. Like I get chicken quesadilla with the Doritos Locos Tacos. Doritos tacos, by the way, like greatest invention ever. They taste amazing. But I just get excited to go to Taco Bell because I know how like bad it is and how bad it is perceived to be and how bad it actually is, but it still like tastes great and I'm glad to go there whenever I can, although I try not to because it is kind of gross. And next up, we got Raising Cane's, which I will also put into the A tier. And there is a huge debate between Cane's and Chick-fil-A, which is better, which is a better chicken establishment. And I'll get to my opinions later in the video when I rank them from each of the tiers. But I think Cane's is really good. The fries are okay. They're kind of like the Culver's fries where they're just like, but I love the toast and the chicken fingers fill me up enough to where I can eat that as my meal and not feel hungry later, and also really good ice. And yeah, and the one thing that Cane's does have is that it was like the prime time hangout spot, at least for me when I was younger as in like 3 years ago in high school. People would always hang out at like a Raising Cane's, get food and talk there, and you can't really do that at any of the other places. Well, I guess you could, but like Cane's was the spot for it, and I always respect it for that. And then next up we got Chipotle, which I think will be my first S tier. Chipotle for me has grown a lot because I remember when I was little, I didn't really like it because I thought like the chicken was too spicy when I get the tacos. But since getting to college, I've gotten there a lot more, getting the bowls, a chicken bowl with the queso and all that and the rice and beans. And I'm like, dang, what have I been missing? This is actually like good and kind of hype. And when you don't get queso, you can be like, wow, this is a pretty hefty, healthy meal that I enjoy and is not too expensive, although it kind of is if you get it a lot like I do. But I think Chipotle is just a great establishment, and there's my dog walking. But yeah, Chipotle, pretty great, no complaints. Next we got Cookout, which I will put into the B tier. I didn't really have that until my freshman year of college, and it's kind of like Taco Bell, where it's kind of like grimy food, except you get excited for it. Except the line, at least the one that I went to, is super long, and the food I don't think is that worth it. Although the shakes are pretty good and the quesadillas are pretty good, except they're really not because they're just very poorly put together, but they still taste okay and get you filled up. So Cookout just gets the job. Cookout just gets the job done, and that's pretty much it for me. And then next up we got Denny's, and I can't remember the last time I've been to a Denny's, but when I do, it's usually for breakfast, like pancakes and stuff. And if I can't really remember it, then it's probably not that good. Maybe I need to have it again, but for now I'll put it in the C tier. Pretty okay breakfast establishment. That is a classic, and it has a classic video where people go crazy to a band playing there at 3 a.m. Next up, we got Domino's Pizza, which I will be putting in the S tier as well. I know this might seem like a pretty cold take, like, oh, everybody says Domino's is the best, blah, blah, blah. But, like, if you think about it, like, it kind of is. Whenever you want to order pizza for, like, an event, you probably want to get Domino's because everybody's going to be satisfied with it. And for good reason, too. It is some good pizza that is actually, like, solid in its like structure, like it's not flimsy. You can take a piece, eat it, and it tastes great. Love Domino's. And next up we got Dairy Queen, which this Dairy Queen and then another one coming up, which one is it, like Sonic and Steak and Shake, I kind of see as more of like ice cream establishments and not really fast food that I would go there to get food with people. But Dairy Queen, I'll put it at B because I do enjoy the ice cream there. I'd say it's better than most even ice cream places, and then the food is also not too bad. I'd say it's like the same level as Sonic, but we'll get to that in a second. Next up we got Five Guys. And Five Guys, this is such a hard one to rank for me because whenever I think of Five Guys, I think of the free peanuts that you get because I just get like a metric ton of and just put them in a bag and then leave and then eat them like because they're so good. But when it comes to the actual food, the food is also pretty good, except it is so expensive for like no reason when it's, yeah, it is like a good burger and good fries, but I don't think it's worth the money that you pay for it. And so the only real redeeming quality is the peanuts and just how good the food is compared to other places. So I think I'm going to put it into the B tier here. And then next up we got IHOP. And I know a lot of people love IHOP just because of the breakfast food, but I'm not a big breakfast eater. And again, it's kind of like Denny's for me, but I think it's just a bit better of a Denny's and I'll get more excited for it. So I'll put it at B tier as well. In-N-Out Burger, okay, yes, I remember In-N-Out Burger now. And the burgers are just pretty good. And that's really all I have to say about it. So I'll put it into the B tier. Next up, we got Jimmy John's, which I think is just a better Subway, in my opinion. The sandwiches are great, a lot more variety. Free smells, that's a big one. So, yeah, we'll put that in the A tier. Not much I have to say about that. KFC, can't remember the last time I had KFC, but when I was younger, my parents used to get me the laptop thing. I think that's what it was called, with like the opening up and the chicken. And I'm just not the biggest fan of like fried chicken in this form. I hate greasy fingers. It's like my least favorite thing in the world. But I do have to say it probably is the best food establishment for fried chicken if that's what you want, if that's what you're going for. And so personally, I'll put it in C just because I'll never be excited to like go to KFC, but I think it's a good solid establishment, but just not for me. And then McDonald's, honestly, I think it's a D tier. I'm never excited to go to McDonald's for the food, for the ice cream, or anything whatsoever. And whenever I go there, I feel so bad for the workers because it looks terrible. And I just never want to think about McDonald's. And it kind of sucks because all of my friends really like McDonald's. And I know the McChicken, I had my first one a couple weeks ago. And I was like, wow, this is okay. But I'm never going to want to like seek this out to eat this. So I don't really know why anybody would go to McDonald's. But that's just my personal opinion. Again, even though this is an objective tier list. But next up, we got Noodles and Company, and this is another one that shot up for me while I was in college, and I had it every Friday, and the noodles are just fire. It's true to its name, Noodles and Company. It is a company that makes fire noodles, and I love going there. Next up, we got Breadco, not Panera, and I'd say in the aspect of this list, it is probably the best establishment here by far. I think the food is the best, and the food is the best, and you kind of still get it quickly like a fast food restaurant, or you could sit into it, and it actually feels like a legitimate restaurant where you can just sit at and then study or do something else that you would kind of feel awkward doing if you were doing that at like a Taco Bell or a IHOP. It feels like the most classy fast food establishment, and I think the food and the atmosphere shows it, and it's just amazing. And then Papa John's is just a worse Domino's in my opinion. I'd say it's the Domino's clone that's just pretty good. I'll never complain about it, but at the same time, it doesn't really have anything special for me going for it other than it's just pretty good. And then Pizza Hut, I remember always going there as a kid and eating it, and I thought it was pretty good. But now that I've had other stuff and other pizza places, I think it's fallen to the wayside for me. And the most interesting thing about it, and it could be the best, could be the worst, is that more than any other pizza, well, like regularly that I eat, it's like the one that when you cut it and then you like lift it up, the cheese strings out. And personally, I just don't like that. I see why some people like that because it is pretty interesting. But yeah, next up we got Qdoba, which if you asked me like a couple years ago, I would have said Qdoba is better than Chipotle because like Qdoba is almost like the cleaner Chipotle. When you go into a Chipotle, it's kind of like grimy and rusty, but when you go into a Qdoba, it's like more modern and stuff like that, and even the food looks cleaner, if you can call it that. But it is Chipotle basically, but just cleaner, more straightforward, and still really great and enjoyable. So no real complaints about Qdoba. Next up, we got Sonic, and again, like Dairy Queen, I see it as more of an ice cream place than a food place, but the ice cream, again, is amazing, and the food, if you're in like a pinch, is also just passable, so sorry. No real complaints about that. And then Steak and Shake, yet another ice cream place, except I don't like it because people usually also get food here, but I don't think the food is really good. And then when you're ordering shakes, at least in my experience, the shakes take so freaking long to come out that it's almost not worth it. Although I guess you could say it is because it is more of like a sit down place where people can like sit down and talk together over like a Taco Bell or a Panda Express. So I do enjoy that factor because it's more like a late night thing. So honestly, I might put it in B. We'll see. Next up, we got Subway, which is just a worse Jimmy John's in my opinion, but still really good because my brother in Christ, you made the sandwich, so can't really complain about how bad the sandwiches are. So yeah, Waffle House is just a classic in American culture. It's just so good, so run down. You never feel safe there, but the food is amazing, except it's not really that amazing. You just think it is, but it also is at the same time. And I always used to go there with my brother and my dad whenever we'd go to our lake house, and now people go to it in college a lot, which is pretty awesome. So I love Waffle House. Never going to complain about that. Wendy's, yet another one that has blown up for me in the past couple of years. I will put it in the A tier. I think it has some great burger options when you're just looking for a quick meal, and that's pretty much it. It's like the most baseline one, but it does the most baseline things as best as it could in its own way. And I think that's really just it. And I think it's awesome. Whataburger. Honestly, I don't really remember. So I'm just going to put it into never had, or yeah, I'm just going to put it in never had. And then fuck White Castle. Nobody likes White Castle. And so if I had to order these now, I'd say I would put McDonald's over White Castle. Yeah, I'd say like Steak and Shake the best out of all of these. Probably Denny's the worst. And then if we go to B tier, Five Guys is probably the best, followed by the Culvers. And then something like that. And then A tier, this is tough because of the whole Cane's and Chick-fil-A debate. But honestly, because of that like portion issue, and that's really the only issue I have, that Cane's does better than Chick-fil-A. I will have to put Cane's above Chick-fil-A, although it is very close. And yeah. And then Panda, probably put Jimmy John's, because I honestly just don't really like sandwiches in general when I'm eating food. And then Qdoba over that. And then finally the S tier. I'll probably have to put Bread Co. at the top, followed by Chipotle, followed by Domino's, and then Waffle House. So this is my final listing of my fast food tier list. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, follow me on YouTube, Instagram, give me money. This is objective. Bye.